Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the Pimp Slap POD, Mike M.
Pimpin' ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not your typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. T's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike, money's killers, Mike even make the even news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Buzz Force Radio, you know we be pumping!
What up? What up? Welcome into Last Call. Here we go. It's Tuesday, March 5th. We're on our way to the month of March. Your March Madness right around the corner. We're ready to rock and get it done tonight. Welcome in here, you guys just getting out of work, trying to figure out what's for dinner, trying to figure out what cocktails you're going to have, and trying to figure out what plays you're going to get cash with tonight. You've come to the right spot for at least one of those three here. Dinner's on you. Cocktails your choice. But when it comes to the plays, you know Last Call is going to dish them out tonight. We got three sports in play. We've got the NHL, a nice loaded card in the NHL. So we've got pickings aplenty there to get ourselves paid with here. Then we bring on Tuesday's resident. Billy Briz is going to come in the house, navigate both college and the NBA. All about the hardwood tonight to get us paid. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got conference games aplenty in NCAA. And, of course, the NBA loading up tonight. Starting to play some roster trickery out there. And fell in the trap last night. So got to be careful. We have to be mindful of those things out there. But if you're just getting in, ready to rock with us, you know the deal. Hit the thumbs up button. We ask you to do three things here. First and foremost, hit that thumbs up. Help us crack the code. That is the 6 p.m. marketplace, Eastern, of course, here. Everyone's trying to put it together. They're trying to look at cash flow. They're trying to look at statistics and unique angles. But we do it better than everybody, not just because of the panel, but the chat is oh so sharp, baby. So you're going to want to get a pen and paper. You're going to want to write down the plays that our guys and gals in the chat are sharing. Their angles all night long. We got games popping off through 11 p.m. Eastern. If we're not covering here on the panel, then you know the chat's going to be getting into the weeds with them games there. Of course, last but not least, throw your plays out there in the chat. We want to recognize your efforts as well. Your hard work coming in, giving us your best plays out there. And biggest thing we do here, right? We're all trying to look at the scoreboard the same way, growing our bankrolls and getting that cash from them bookies out there. So going to be a fun night tonight. We've got all kinds of things popping off. And again, I mentioned Billy Briz coming in, looking to fire back. And you know Billy does it better than anybody. So lots of fun in store. I looked at his card. Love what he's got coming at us. NBA and college basketball. Excited about the plays that I have for you as well. We've got some big games on the horizon tonight in all three sports. So going to be a lot of fun talking about it. Let's shout out who's out there. Let's see what's doing in the chat. There's our guy, Joe T. First guy in, again, sharing his plays tonight there. He says he had a nice 2-in-1 day in his best bets yesterday, my guy, finding that profit. And he's giving us his looks today. He likes this Central Michigan, Northern Illinois over 134.5. And he says Panthers and Flyers first period over, but I think he means the Devils there. It's the Panthers and Devils, I believe. I don't want to speak to him, but to my recognition, the Flyers aren't playing tonight. So, that being said, though, it does look like the Panthers and the Devils first period over. Not a bad look out there with them skates on from our guy, Joe T. Appreciate that. The Futon Bets in the house says Pacers money line. What's up, buddy? Let's get this cash. Futon Bets, it's great to see you in here and sharing your looks out there to cook the books, baby. There's my homie, Ick Schnizzle 420 in the chat says, Pimp slapping and capping as always. Let go on a Tuesday, my guy. Going to be fun hanging out tonight. Perky Bumps in the house says, here we are, Mikey. Here we go. Let's toss some flamethrowers out here at these bookies. I'm excited about the card we have tonight here. Not just from a depth of games, but I really like the action here. We've got quite a few nice little angles that line up for us. The cash flow is moving in the right direction. You guys know I've been saying that we got to be oh so careful here, making sure that everything checks the boxes for us before we drop the cash on them. And I feel like we're there tonight. Real Deal Prime in the house says, somebody slap me. Real Deal, it's great to see you. Mike Wilkerson's in the house. He likes that Sixers money line, my guy. You're going to like one of the plays we've got out there tonight. Nunya says that UMass lull first half spot for my guy, Nunya. And BT says, Pimp Juice is colorblind. Nelly. All right, my guy. Patrick Burns in the house. Great to see you. Let's go. Brian Watson's out there. Says, sees winners on the horizon. Let's go. Pub Sports Radio. My guy T on the ones and twos. Keeping it tight and right for everybody. Says, smash the like button. Pubbers. We had monster views last night, guys. We need them thumbs up. We need them like buttons to carry along with it out there. It was a lot of fun seeing everybody drop in some new names, existing names, the OGs. Everybody was here last night to get it done. And let's keep it rolling there. Gerald Jones, Subhuman Gaucho. Gerald Jones likes bet of the day here for him is Georgia Tech, Wake Forest over 151 and over 71 in the first half out there. 71.5 for my guy in the first half. So he's got a little double dip for us. Gerald Jones, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest game, first half over and the full game over out there. We appreciate you sharing. There's our guy Justin in the house here. He says stacks POD, Kansas minus 10.5. And he's rolling there. I see that record. You're going to get it there, my guy. I know you will. You keep grinding, and that's what this thing's all about is a daily grind out there. Patrick Burns giving his best looks out there. He likes UNC minus 15.5. The under 156.5, South Florida, and South Florida minus 7.5 out there. So a couple of spots there with South Florida and the Green Wave tonight. Last game, I believe, of the conference for them boys. Patrick Burns says Purdue to win first half, Illinois to win the full game at plus 650. I love that creativity, Patrick Burns. Good luck to you, my guy, with that plus 650. I'll be rooting for you. And Winner Circle says, hey, yo, T. Maxey under 27.5 points. I think Maxey's out tonight, if I'm not mistaken. If you're talking about that Sixers game, I'm pretty sure he's out of this one, but we'll double check that as we get to it there. And yeah, drop your best plays in the chat. Patrick Burns says Illinois Purdue under 163.5. And there's our guy with the smooth balls. Play of the day. You got to keep them smooth. J Smooth 16 is going to help you do that. He likes that South Florida minus 7 spot out there. I was going to kick out of it, J Smooth. I appreciate you dropping them smooth balls out there for everybody to take a look at. We appreciate your efforts out there. 29 says LFG boys. And Patrick Burns also got this Kansas first half minus 6.5. Oklahoma first half minus 2.5. And continue to break it down. Let's keep cooking. There's my guy, Jay Peasy, in the house. It's always great to see Jay Peasy out there. We need some Euro hoops, Jay Peasy. I was stuck having to take that Barron soccer game there in the Champions League minus 1.5. It cashed, but I was hoping for Euro hoops to keep us rolling. Perky Bump says he likes Purdue tonight. Knicks tonight. Haven't moved yet. Tricky game, that Purdue, Illinois spot there tonight. Subhuman Gaucho likes the Panthers. Not stressing about the back-to-back. Joseph Thompson says, yes, Devils. Yeah, that first period. I figured that's what you were on there. If the Flyers were playing, I'd be thinking fade, and I wasn't thinking that all day. So I figured it was the Devils spot out there. BT says, Army under for our guy BT out there. Let's roll on. Can't wait to get into the card with you guys. T says, slap the person next to you in honor of the pin. Let's go. Can't wait. There's our guy, Razor Sharp Picks. Shout out to Razor Sharp Picks. Says, shout out to everybody. What's up, Mike? 13-1-1 in his last 15 bets. He says, let's stay hot. That's not hot. That's scorching, my guy. You are firing away. Shout out to you. I know you do the work, and you're seeing the fruits of your labor. We appreciate you dropping in, sharing it with us. Juggler 23 likes that Oilers and the Coyotes minus 1.5 at even money. That's a tricky spot, that Coyotes Chicago game. I didn't know if it was possible to both teams lose that game. I don't know. But it looks like the Coyotes minus 1.5 is Juggler 23's spot there to get the cash. Perky Bump says Gaucho. Nanya likes Russell. Russell Tweecha from Georgia, 6+ boards versus that Old Miss spot at minus 233. And JP says T on the ones and twos, baby. Let's go out there. We got it. It's here. Get your pens and pencils. I said it, not just because of the panel, but our guys in the chat. And there's Razor Sharp Picks. Dropping the bomb. He likes Orlando, Charlotte, under 207.5 for our guy, Razor Sharp Picks. Not afraid of the low number, and it's low for a reason. So shout out to Razor Sharp Picks. We'll pop that up there. Let you guys take a gander at my boy doing his best work out there here. Month of March, he's going to heat up and keep it rolling. Let's go. And he says, I'm with stupid. I can't do it justice. That was a great run we had during the NFL season. That was a lot of fun. Shout out to Razor Sharp Picks out there. Juggler 23, college likes Middle Tennessee plus 5.5 and Central Michigan minus 2.5. And Justin McAlvey says Brunson ruled out. There we go for that Nick spot on Brunson. Caddy Daddy's in the house. What's going on, Mike? In the best chat in the game. It is the best damn chat in there. sharper and sharper by the day, I always say. And they hold it down for us out there. Subhuman Gaucho giving us a little soccer look out here. You know what happens with my guy Subhuman Gaucho and football on the pitch there. He likes Philly Union against that Mexican team. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals out there for our guy. Expecting goals with that Philly Union team. And is it Pachuca? I don't know. It can't be right the way I said that. But anyhow, let's go. Juggler23 says, Solder Bomb is pure garbage out there. And Razor says, thanks, D. Just slammed my wife, and now I'm a dead man. I was going to say, you got to be careful who it is you're going to put the palm to, right? So one of your boys, if you're hanging out at the bar, you go ahead and give him a nice little, get one of these, get that sound going there to get it, because you don't have to do it twice. Just get your boys once. That's fine, but it's all good. We're not promoting and advocating violence. It's just a little love tap. Let them know it's time to get that cash out there. Julian Cesario says, what up, Pimp? He's got Kansas first half -6.5. And there's our girl, Kelly V, in the chat. She's giving some college hoops action. She likes the Wright State. We'll crush Detroit Mercy under 126.5 in the Cincy OKC game. Talk Sports with JT says Alabama +2, K-State first half +6 out there. So a little head-to-head with the chat. And there's our guy, Al Cervic. Just wait till we have a 20-week season. Kelly V says, my bad, 136 on the under in the Cincy OKC game, guys. Let's get into it. Let's recap before we jump in there. Yeah. I thought it was 2, Razor. I got to try it again, but my hands are cold, man. It was a warm day today. I still can't get it. I'll get it right before the show's done. That hurt me. They're cold hands, man. They're cold hands out there. And let's go here. We got to recap from last night before we jump into the NHL, college basketball, and the NBA. We do have our boy backstage ready to go, so I don't want to keep him on ice. My hands are cold enough. We don't need him sitting there freezing it out either. We want to stay hot and get this boy running. And look, what a mess last night was. I cut a winner. Shout out to them Bucks at -3.5. I had a loser late night with OKC, and that's how you go 4-5 on the day. So that was not good. I don't know. In all this full disclosure here, 100% transparency. I don't know if I think I might have added 3 games via Twitter after the show, and I don't know if I've won any of them. So I know a bunch of you guys were on that OKC misery with me, and that stunk up the shop and then some. So it was 4-5. We did win with Florida out there against them Rangers. Calgary, though, does not get the job done against the Kraken. A 4-2 spot out there. Now we have the Kraken going on a back-to-back spot. Queens +4. Talked about them winning that game outright. They did, in fact, win that game outright. +4. Got the money line, and we cashed the +4 on the show. The under 149.5 in the NCC game did not get there for us, nor did Prairie View. So it wasn't our best day in college basketball. And then the NBA, we split them, right? We had Portland +14.5, got that cash. Chicago +6.5, got that cash. OKC money line I talked about. And then how close were we on this? What was it? A 4-leg parlay there. We had Lillard get the over 3.5 rebounds. We had Collins 8+ rebounds. We had AD 12+ rebounds, but it was Colby White coming through. We had the under 2.5 threes. I fucking normally play the overs, and I even said it last night. I'm going to take an under here. It was the first game of 4 games on the road. I thought maybe they'll go slow, and nope, he came out there and he did it off. What did he get? 4 in the first half or the third quarter? And that's how you ruin a nice +420 spot. But we're going to go again tonight in the old parlay machine here. A couple games I had to cut, just a big card, and I still wanted to touch them. So we're going to touch them in this parlay here. We got ourselves a nice little, I want to say it's just over plus, I don't want to quote the number. I don't want to quote the number offhand without knowing exactly what it is there. Kelly V says, my bad. Colgate line, Calgary line should have been higher last night. Dumb me. Listen, Dumb me too. I played that one. I played it pretty heavy too. So I was not excited about that. North Ender says, marvelous Mike is his pimp handle. Let's go. Kelly V says, NHL, some hot teams playing Nashville, Jets, and Florida out there. And J Stone 9 says, Dallas first period team total over 1.5 as well. Our guy J Stone expecting to see goals early out of that Dallas Stars team. And let's get into that. Let's use that as our segue to the NHL tonight. I mentioned we've got plenty of games kicking off here. And, as far as the NHL is concerned, not devoid of opportunities to get this cash. So excited about what we have in front of us here. And we're going to open her right up with this 7 p.m. Eastern game. We've got the Florida Panthers, their second of two here, back-to-back spot against the New Jersey Devils. What do we know about this New Jersey Devils team? They just shit-canned Lindy Ruff. Out the door you go. And it's not necessarily his fault. I mean, he had a young team. He was able to develop them boys last year. But the goaltending is absolutely suspect and then some. And what we have is Florida bringing their backup in. We saw Bobrovsky last night handle them Rangers. We've got Stolarz going in at 11-5-2 on the season. And Schmid 5-8-1 for New Jersey. You know you're in trouble when Schmid's your go-to guy out there. Stolarz as a backup, more than serviceable. 2.02 goals against average and a 92.4% save percentage. Schmid, 3.08 goals against average, 89.7% save percentage. Lots of ways to dice this one down here. I get that whole, coach got fired angle. Not mad at anybody that wants to try to go that direction, but I just don't see it tonight. I'm just not buying in here. This Florida Panthers team is red hot. The only person that I know hotter than the Florida Panthers is Razor Sharp Picks right now, dropping his action out there. And look at these boys are firing right now. 11-0 in the favorite role now. Looking to make it 12. Last night was double digits and then some, and they just keep rolling. You look on the other side of things here. The Devils, I mentioned their goaltending woes there. Dawes lets up 8 goals, has to get yanked. There's a relief effort for Schmid. Schmid's gone in on back-to-back relief spots. So, I always say when it comes to these relief situations, the goalie's mindset is sitting there to be, dragging his ass, trying to stay warm, not going in the game. And albeit he did shut everybody down when he goes in there. We've talked about the goaltending changes. Start to look for those team total unders on the other team because these goalies play red hot when they come in relief. But after a couple of relief efforts here, Schmid getting the start, I just think it's just going to be too much for him to handle right now. The Panthers are one of the hottest teams on the road in the NHL. They're 22-10 on the road out in this point of the season now. That's just a great record that they go away from the barn with. They're also 10-21 to the under on the road. So they're holding opponents down, and it's not so much that they're not scoring. They're averaging 3.4 goals a game, but they're holding opponents to 2. So certainly a lot to be considered there with this red-hot Florida Panthers team. We also tracked this one last night. I can't believe we have it. It's almost the exact same situation here where we've got the next up is the St. Louis Blues. We talked about that with the Rangers. Now we got it again with the Devils. The next up, St. Louis Blues. Those teams are 6-39. I don't know what the correlation is there with the Blues, but 6-39 gives us a nice little intersection point. We also have our favorite angle. It's the revenge angle. You're the road favorite after you lost to the team as a home favorite in the same season. You're 540 and 281 in those spots. So we are going to ride this Florida Panthers spot here. We're going to take the Cats on the road against the Devils, and it's a nice little minus 120 opportunity for us to try to get paid. So let's do just that. AOD says, Mike, and our brother. And Big Scott 510 says, oh no, not shitty schmitty. Give me Florida. I like that. I like that shit. I was thinking of how I could intertwine those two there, but you did a nice job, Big Scott. We appreciate that. Chip's in the house says Florida Gators -2 is his play of the year for our guy. Chip, good luck to you, my guy. Marcus McCarthy says Mike the Pimp, and Nunya says Kevin Cross for Tulane 6+ rebounds at -209. So our guy Nunya dropping some player props on the college hardwood. Let's keep it rolling, guys. Let's move on to this next game at 7:30. We're going to skip over this Blue Jackets Penguins game. I'm not in the business of laying -225 for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has dominated the Blue Jackets on their home ice, but not enough for me. The Blues and the Islanders spot there. I'm going to touch on the Islanders later when we get to the parlay that I've got for you guys, but I do like at 7:30 Eastern, I would lean to that Islanders spot there. I think it's a great matchup. Again, the Blues coming off that back-to-backer as well. So we look at the Oilers and the Bruins here at 7:30. This is going to be where we're going to go to play number 2 for the NHL tonight. And we've got Skinner at 28, 13-2 out there for the Edmonton Oilers, 2.64 goals against average and a 90.5% save percentage. We got damn right Leanis Allmark at 16, 7-6 for the Boston Bruins, 2.8 goals against average and a 90.9% save percentage. So first glance here to coin our boy Razor Sharp's angles, and I was thinking the under in this game here, and I'm still not mad at anybody that wants to jump in on this one. In fact, you know what? I'm going to double dip this game. I'm going to roll this under 6.5. That's how quick it happens. As you start thinking about it, you say it aloud, And it just makes a ton of sense with these two teams here. We've got sixes starting to peek their heads out there, but the 6.5's at minus 120. So I'm going to add this one up here. I'm going to jump on this under. We also have the rest and the revenge angles going on in our favor for Edmonton. Skinner has gone, he struggled a little bit out of the All-Star break, but he's gone 3 wins in a row. He's held opponents to 3 or less goals in 3 straight. And there's that Seattle spot. We talked about Seattle and Boston. We know Seattle owns Boston, but Edmonton owns Seattle. You know, Skinner comes out there, 24 saves on 25 shots for a nice little 2-1 under victory. We just talked about the revenge angle there. Lines up for Edmonton, 540 and 281 spot. We got another one here. When you're next up on the road and you're currently a road favorite against Columbus next up, you're 18-5 in those spots there. So that to me says you don't really care about Columbus. You're going to put all your effort into this game out there. I get that it's the back-to-back situation, but this is a disadvantage for Boston. The rest advantage when you're lined as a favorite up to minus 200 is 465 and 212 in the NHL. So another big edge there for teams that have the rest advantage. And when you're got the rest advantage and you're playing a team that's got their 3rd game in 4 nights, you're 50-10 in those spots as well. So this is great. This lines up for me in 2 buckets here, both the Edmonton Oilers that are now minus 130s. So that minus 125 is now gone. We're seeing the movement in the direction for the Oilers, and I'm adding the under 6.5, and it's going to be a minus 120 for me in that spot as well. So a little double dip. Yeah, I really stung my fingers there on that wussy pimp slap out there. These clicker fingers don't want to work right at the current moment here, but let's roll on to the last game for the NHL card. Again, I've got a parlay that's going to hang out there for us. It's going to be a cross-sport parlay tonight. I don't think we've done that yet on the show, but we will do that tonight. The next game we are going to hone in on, though, is going to be an 8 o'clock start here. So some early NHL action as we take to the we go north of the border. We got the Kraken visiting the Winnipeg Jets, and we just talked about the Kraken on the second leg of the back-to-back. We've got Joey Decord going in goal for Seattle at 16, 12, and 10. Serviceable numbers, 2.45 goals against average and a 91.9% save percentage. They went away from Decord, though, if you'll remember, because he was playing like pure dog shit. They couldn't have gotten Grubauer back at the right time. Decord was getting lit up like the old Christmas tree that is. And now he's going out there against Connor Hellebuck, who is probably going to be the Vezina winner in the NHL. He's the best goaltender rolling, 29, 12, and 3. He does have a 2.25 goals against average and a 92.4% save percentage. The advantage that we have here isn't just Decord playing like pure dog shit, but Hellebuck got rest in that last game, and that's a bad spot out there. His last out, 32 saves on 35 shots against the Carolina Hurricanes. They won that game 5-3. That was a big win for them boys out there, because I do think that Carolina has one of the decided advantages for the Eastern Conference in the NHL. Hellebuck, though, 3 or fewer goals in 4 straight games. They're 3-1 in those spots out there. Look, a lot of people are looking to this the Winnipeg side, and I understand why. There's a lot of reasons why Winnipeg makes a lot of sense. But I will just caution you. The Kraken, when they're on the road, this is a Kraken-specific trend. The Kraken on the road, after their opponent just got hit 20 or more times the previous game. Remember, we've talked about this before. After they come off a physical game, the Kraken as the opponent, 21-13 for the Kraken. So I'm not saying go out there and bang on this Kraken team. I'm not sure I advocate that at all. Sharper money, 70% of the cash is on the Kraken. The money line is dropping for the Jets from minus 178 to minus 164. But I'm going to the under in this game here. We've got the Jets against a losing team, 18-5-4 to the under. And on the other side of things here, Seattle, when they're off and over on the road and they've got no rest, they're 3-11-1 to the under. That's what you would expect from an offense that's now playing the second leg of a back-to-back on the road with no rest. A low production type of game. Maybe they play defense, but their offense is just gassed, and they went out there and they gassed them Calgary Flames. So when that line is 5.5, by the way, that number is averaging 6 at 3-11-1. When Seattle's in that situation, off and over on the road with no rest, but the line's 5.5, they're 0-5 to the under, 0-5 to the under. So this under 5.5 is sitting at minus 108. Let me just do a quick check on the line and make sure that's the best number we can get. And it is. Bet Rivers got us the minus 108 still at under 5.5. That's going to be the 4th official play in the NHL. As I said, I added that spot for the under in Boston. That's how quick it is. You start getting in there. I just got to make sure I click this thing before the game starts, but it's 7:30. So we should have plenty of time out there. Michael Johnson says, ouch, Robert, no Vaseline. Michael Johnson likes the Nashville Jets parlay. And Robert Martin says the Kraken bent him over last night. No lube or a glove. Jeez. I mean, that's how I felt about that game there. It was like they scored, they tied it up, and then they just couldn't get back on top of it. So that's going to do it for us in the NHL. The Jets under 5.5. I mentioned that Boston under 6.5. We've got the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. And let's transition now. I see our boys ready to rock. Couldn't be a better time to get into it here. We've got ourselves plenty of action. The NBA, aside from our boys' pick there from Razor Sharp Picks, gives us some time to dig into this college basketball card. So let's bring on Tuesday's resident there. Got the co-host a little bit with him to pop off last week on All About the Hoops. He's all about the UFC as well. This guy's just printing cash everywhere he goes. You guys know him and you love him. At Getting Bills, it's our homeboy, Billy Briz. Billy Briz, welcome to Last Call, my buddy. Let's go.
I hit the wrong button. What's up, Mikey?
That was the shortest appearance on show history. In and out.
I mean, man, I got bludgeonedly beaten yesterday. Bad runs, bad bounces. So this is a big day for me.
Well, let's go. Let's lace up the high tops and get back to this. We got ourselves some college basketball action, and I love it, man. You're staring in the face of adversity with this Alabama-Florida game, 7 p.m. Eastern, to open the card up here. You know the deal, guys. We'll break down the lines. You'll see on the right-hand side the games that we're getting into for the card. And, of course, we'll let our boy talk about how he's getting paid here. Alabama opens up as a -1.5 favorite. They're down to +2.5s out there. Now, I've even seen 3s. 75% of the bets, 75% of the cash on Florida. Them Gators in the swamp. And the total is interesting spot here at 177.5. It's dropped a point, but we have 68% of the bets on the over, and it's pretty much a 50-50 split on the under, if you will, there. So we do have a 1-point drop, Billy Briz. Talk to us about this big showdown here for the SEC. Should be a lot of fun for 7 o'clock. Take it away.
Yeah, trying to bring up my notes for this one. Bama, they're good offensively, but their defense is just absolutely terrible. I just think that the jury's still out on this offense just being able to sustain throughout these when you play the higher tier conference of players and teams and stuff like that. The way that they're running this offense just doesn't set up well. If you look at Bama, they don't force turnovers, they foul a lot, and their pace of play is so high that the other teams can kind of hang in these games. Bama ranks outside the top 250 teams in the country in the 3 following defensive categories that I actually care about: turnover percentage, defensive rebounding percentage, free throws attempted / field goals attempted. So I feel like Florida's in a good spot here. I like Florida here on the money line. I didn't think it was going to go up that much, though.
Interesting numbers there. And guys, if you're just getting in here, I see we're rocking here with a monster show tonight. Hit that thumbs up for us. Help us crack this code and let them know Last Call's here to get it done, and get it done we will tonight. So we got Billy Briz opening up his collegiate card tonight, and he's looking at this Florida Gator spot. Man, I'll tell you, this was this one. God bless you. I want to get there with you. I just don't know. I'm so on the fence here. I will say, when it comes to the Florida spot, though, some strong numbers for Florida in this game. I'm trying to see if I can't find them real quick, and of course I can't. But there was definitely some strong angles and edges on this Florida side of things. So I like it, man. I think it's a great way. It's a tricky number, right? Why in the world is Alabama getting 2.5 points? These guys played 2 weeks ago, and it was like a 10.5 spot. So I mean, this,
In my personal opinion, Florida is looking for revenge. In that first game, they were leading majority of that first game, and then Bama ended up squeaking that game out at their house. The way that Bama's been playing, man, I mean, their defense is just bludgeoningly bad. 88.6 points per game on the road allowed this season. I think Florida has the guard depth to compete, and they should be able to get enough defensive stops when the time counts. And that's why I'm going with Florida to get the dub here in this SEC matchup.
Love it. Love it. Let's keep rolling here. I'm going to jump in on this 7 p.m. action as well. You guys know the deal for me. Love to get into the weeds, the nitty-gritty here. We're going to go to the Ivy League. We got ourselves a Harvard-Dartmouth matchup here for 7 p.m. And here's the old reverse line movement alert, right? We've got 46% of the bets on Dartmouth, but 63% of the cash at +7 for Dartmouth right now. The line's moved a half a point against Dartmouth, right? So it's gone from 6.5 to +7s out there. And the total's moving on up from 133 up to 137.5. 39% of the bets, 88% of the cash on this over has moved. And look, this is one of those spots I love to get involved with here. You guys have heard me talk about them before. We got double losses for this Harvard team. They lost to Yale. 80-60 was not their most admirable situation there. They lost 71-68 at Brown as well. But you look at this Dartmouth team, and this Dartmouth team is just plain bad. We've got Bama. I see Crimson. I was thinking Crimson Tide. We've got Harvard, 1-3 in their last 4, but trying to make some moves here. This is the last game for the Ivy League, and I honed in on a little number that I think makes some sense here. We've got the non-Saturday favorites in the Ivy League. So for whatever reason, Saturdays in the Ivy League do their thing, but the Ivy League non-Saturday favorites are 17-4. The average line they're seeing is 8, and they're winning those games by almost 12 points out there. So I'm going to count on this Harvard team to bounce back in this spot here. I know they're 9-16 against the spread, but you kind of look at what's going on here. Dartmouth's definitely bottom of this conference. They're 5-21 on the season. They're a full 10 games back, but there is a little middle market battle right now with a bunch of teams at 6, 7, and 8 games behind in the conference here. It's the difference between, being the favorite, or if you will, with the conference games being in the favorite role versus the dog spot there, which definitely allows for some lineup change advantages out there. Harvard's got everything to play for. Dartmouth is just happy to get this game over with here. 6.5 with the reverse line movement for me, locked in for my college basketball card. Billy, you know anything about them Ivy League boys? I know you do.
You're not a little bit nervous about fading the boys on senior night? I mean, from like a real life perspective, when you go through a bad season like Dartmouth has gone through and you're 5-21 and senior night comes around, that might be the game they get up for. I don't know. I mean, +6.5 at home. I mean, how wrong could you be until you look at the final score and they got blown out? So I had to stay off. But I don't like back and road teams on senior night, man. I know that feeling. Everybody that's played sports collegiately or high school wise, I mean, that senior night's very special.
Yeah, I generally used to think that way too. I used to think it's all cute and you got these guys that, the statues, the jersey retirements, but I'm going to buy into the strategy, and it's a real simple strategy. I remember it from playing, growing up as well, big games. It's the let's fuck their day up strategy. Yeah. And I think that's going to be exactly what happens here. Harvard seeing these boys, mama and daddy are coming out on the court. They're going to bring them their flowers. And guess what? Pimp slaps all around, I think, is what's going to happen in this game here. I think Harvard goes on to get the job done. Mama's crying. She's excited. You're getting your degree you're going to go probably be a doctor, or you're going to come up with some nuclear strategy to develop, fusion rockets that go to Mars in 2 days flat. But in the meantime, you're going to go out there and get pimp slapped by Harvard tonight. So let's roll on. Let's go to this next game I believe this is the 8:30 start in the collegiate ranks here. We've got Old Dominion and Texas State, a game that Billy wanted to hone in on here. And what a number we've got. This thing opened at 3.5. We've got 4s now. So we see 3.5 still available, but 4s are creeping out there. 93% of the bets and 92% of the cash on Texas State. And we now finally have that half a point movement. We have some reverse line movement on the total. 136.5 has moved to 137.5. 76% of the bets, 96% of the cash on the under. And yet we're seeing this total move on up here, Billy. You've got this Texas State team coming off of 3 straight wins now. They're 3rd of 3 at home as well, just taking down Troy. 82-79 is a 4.5 point dog. And Old Dominion's kind of in that spot we just talked about with Harvard. 1-4 in their last 5, Billy. The floor is yours, my guy. Tell us how we're getting paid here.
Yeah, man, let's be real, man. If I lose this bet, you might not hear from me for a little bit. I might be 6 feet under somewhere. I need this bet to hit. We're going with Texas State -3.5, -110 here. ODU 7-22-1 ATS, second worst in the country this season. And their original head coach had to resign from health issues earlier this season when we were watching the Hawaii Diamond Head Classic. Things went bad from worse, though. In late January, they dismissed their leading scorer. Since then, they've gone 1-7 ATS in their last 8 games to end the regular season. I mean, you talking about pack up the bags and go home. I mean, that's ODU right now. They just want the season to be over so the guys can hit the transfer portal. ODU's really an isolation basketball type of offense with the 14th highest isolation possessions in the country. Basically, AKA, that means Chauncey Jenkins dribbling the ball around and not really passing and everybody else standing around. Texas State, they should have the advantage here defensively in this matchup. One of the best perimeter defenses, holding the opponents to 31.5% shooting from three-point. They've been trending in the right direction since they've been getting healthy, winning 3 straight, covering 7 out of their last 10. In the Sun Belt tournament last year, these two teams faced off, and Texas State was able to win versus ODU 65-36. Well, I don't think this year's game is going to be that big of a blowout. I think Texas State's going to win, cover, and advance to the next round here in the Sun Belt. They're actually one of my dark horses in the Sun Belt here.
I like it. Gerald Jones says ODU's on the fade list for him as well. You know, ODU's on my fade list too, Gerald Jones. We must have gotten bit by the same game a couple of times there to put them boys on the sell list, because they are absolutely, when I saw Texas State, I jumped on it, and that was, still getting 3.5. So now we see some 4s out there, and away they roll. Let's close up college basketball. We'll move on over to the association. We've got ourselves a nice card lined up over there. And I'm going to roll deep here. We're going to go into the March Madness. That is, it's conference tournament time. And this one should be a lot of fun. We've got North Florida and Austin Peay. It's an 8 p.m. game. So a little backtrack here to 8 p.m. Eastern. We've got 65% of the bets and 53% of the cash. Move this Austin Peay line from 2.5s all the way up to 4s and 4.5s now. Money coming in galore here. Despite it being relatively a coin flip, they've moved it in significant motion here towards Austin Peay. This total has dropped, though, from 146.5 down to 143.5, with 64% of the bets and 51% of the cash on the under. So kind of some correlated movement there. You guys have heard me say it time and again. I love to correlate the unders to the favorites here. We look at those 3 buckets, right? We look at where the line opened. We look at the bets. The bets generally consist of teasers, parlays, kind of money line. It's all the soup of what's been played in that game. But it's the cash bucket that we want to kind of concern ourselves with. Where's the bigger money coming in? And then how is Vegas responding? Or not just Vegas. I know that there's a lot of legal books across the country now, but how are they responding to that cash coming in? And in this case here, they're saying, we might not have put enough points on this one. And I do agree with that spot here. I get it with North Florida. Nice team there. Big win off of Stetson. Stetson's definitely one of the class of the conference, 78-59. But look back at that Florida Gulf Coast spot there. We saw Queens hammer on Florida Gulf Coast. They just took a loss to them, 79-60 as a 3.5-point favorite. Austin Peay's got themselves a little 90-87 win against Bellarmine. East Kentucky, the Colonels, one of the tops in the conference as a 2.5-point dog. They win by 4 outright in that spot here. And this is bottom line one here for conference tournament trends. We're going to start having more conference tournament trends. I will layer these in as we go where they make sense. This one goes back to 2012. We got conference tournament favorites between 2s and 4s winning at 58.5% over almost 700 games a sample. So we got 388 to 280. They're winning those games by around 5 points on average out there. I know the line's moving. I think it's moving for a reason. So we got 3.5s at minus 118s. That'll be the number I drop in on. I'm still good with 4, and I'm still good with 4.5 as we're starting to see those out there at 8 o'clock. But get it now, because you don't want to get out there and start to take that 5 where I see the swing number. I wouldn't go the other direction here. I think it's a bad spot for North Florida. Austin Peay is certainly a spot with 17-11 in the conference record that they should be able to go out there and make some headway. But, yeah, I'm going to fade this North Florida team. I get their record. I like what they've been doing. But that win against Austin Peay was kind of their staple for the conference here. And I'm jumping in Austin Peay, minus 118 and minus 3.5 for us to close out college hoops. Billy Briss, what do you think there?
Austin Peay is one of my favorite college basketball players, Emmanuel Hansen. He was born with one arm, and he always gets the team going. He was a really good high school player. Ended up having to transfer from Northwestern to Austin Peay this year, and the coach also went with him. And the team is a very motivational team. I mean, when you see a guy out there practicing with one arm, doing the same exact drills and the same exact stuff that you are doing, that can definitely get a team inspired. And it looks like they've been inspired this last month. They really have changed their form of play. But the one thing I don't like about Austin Peay is these games keep on going way over the total. And I don't think that's an indictment of two things. Their offense is playing really good, but their defense has not been looking as good. And University of South Florida, I mean, I can't imagine how many games straight. 1, 2, 3, 4 straight unders. I think the total under could be the best bet in this one. If Austin Peeves is going to cover this number, they're going to have to really lock in defensively. They can't be having those high scoring games like they have been across this last month. I mean, against Bellarmine, one of the worst teams in college basketball, they allowed 87 points. EKU, they're number 1 seed in this conference. They allowed 79 points. Lipscomb was a 90-85 loss. University of Northern Alabama, they allowed them to score 79 points. The fucking cocaine bears, as I call them, Central Arkansas, they allowed them to score 67 points, which is a pretty high total for them. They got to lock in defensively. These games are going way too over for them, for me to comfortably put my money on them. But my actual lean is Austin Peeves. So the fact that I think that Austin Peeves is going to win, I actually think under this total is a very sharp number. It doesn't really reflect both of the teams' totals market throughout the year. This seems like a very low total for a University of North Florida type of game. I mean, we've seen their totals climb as high as 165, 164s, and that's damn near like Power 5 conference type totals. And this total here today set at 144.5. I feel like that's more indictment of Austin Peeves locking up defensively here.
I think it's a big game. Clearly, I see Robert Martin says Governor's game has a live dog. I don't know if he's talking North Florida in that spot there. I hope not, Robert Martin. We want to get this thing rolling, guys. We're going to move on over to the NBA here. We got ourselves a nice card lined up here and some extra plays coming in as well. So all about that late minute news here, last minute opportunities with Last Call. Hit that thumbs up here. We appreciate the support. Love to see the numbers. You guys are doing a great job promoting the cause here. Get that thumbs up for us as we roll on, and roll on we will. We've heard from our guy, Razor Sharp Picks, already for the 7 o'clock game with Orlando Magic and the Charlotte Hornets. He is red hot right now. He's got that 15-1 record going, and he likes this Hornets spot. Under 208's the number. I see 207.5. Full disclosure, 62% of the bets, 80% of the cash on the Orlando Magic. No movement on the Magic side of things. So certainly a red flag there. Then if you look down at it, and you see the other side of this thing, the total has dropped 46% of the bets and 83% of the cash. You know, it just dawned on me. T, can we bring up that parlay real quick? Because there are going to be some spots that get popping off here. So I want to throw this out there on the chat. It's a plus 642 parlay that I jumped in on. And for everybody that's coming in watching this thing here, I don't want anybody to miss this thing, but we do have a plus 642 spot here. I talked about the Islanders earlier in the game here. I think they're a great opportunity to get the job done. We're just going to go a little out of sequence because I want to make sure you guys can take advantage of this parlay here. The Islanders have that rest advantage. I already talked about the favorites up to a minus 200, are 465 and 212. I didn't want to mess around with the -1. I kind of felt like this might be a fucking 1-point game out there. So I kind of jumped in there with that opportunity off the hop. I went to the Vancouver Canucks, another team that does have the revenge angle in their favor tonight. We also have the Vancouver Canucks as an away favorite off a win and an under. The opponent came off an under, are 115 and 57 in those spots out there. So the thing that kept me off of Vancouver as a straight play, however, is they aren't the greatest when it comes to the revenge spot. So I wanted to get on them in this game here. I jumped in on the Sixers on the money line out there. I know we talked about the maxi spot out there. The Sixers are in a 17-0 straight up in spread position when they're going against a team they didn't cover against the spread in the last meeting after non-divisional games. So good opportunity, I thought, for the Sixers. And if you look at the other side of the matchup there, we'll talk about this game in a few minutes here with the Nets, but both teams have nobody playing. So it's not like this maxi spots that I think that earth-shattering. And then last but not least, I jumped in on the Rockets in there on the money line. The 6 has moved to 7.5s and 8s out there now. The money line's getting juiced. But it's the Rockets against the Spurs here. I think this is a big opportunity for the Rockets to put boots to ass and get the job done. So that's a plus 642 spot there. You guys have plenty of time to get that thing in here. I wanted to share that on the screen. Again, we have a ton of people here watching tonight. Want to make sure you guys take full advantage of the capping that we've done for the card here. Let's roll back on into the NBA. I already mentioned 7 p.m. We got our guy Razor Sharp kicking us off with that spot there with the Magic and the Hornets on the under. The NBA unders have been a monster, since the All-Star break. You guys have seen those numbers out there. And look at a little red flag alert here as we talk about the first game in the NBA. I'm looking
Can I
at this.
throw in a little something real quick?
Yeah.
One prop that was standing out to me in that Orlando Charlotte game, since we're on that one, was Davis Bertans under 9.5 points at -130. If you look at his 3-point prop, he was one of the guys that really benefited from Nick Richards being out of the lineup for the Charlotte Hornets. If you look at his 3-point prop tonight, the under 3.5, because he takes 85% of his shots via catch and shoot 3-pointers. Under 3.5 3-pointers for him is -380. So it just actually doesn't make plausible sense that his point prop would be at 9.5 at under -130. Just a numbers type of thing. If a guy really just catch and shoots all of the shots for 3-point land, the starter's back / he's favored to go -380 under his 3-point prop. I just don't see how he exceeds 10 points in this game. And then another one was Wendell Carter Jr. in this matchup. He gets probably one of the best matchups on the board today. It's just you got to follow his minutes. You can't confirm how many minutes he's going to play, but he might get there in 25 minutes tonight. And then Paulo Pincheiro's points, rebounds, and assists is in a really good spot, but you would need Charlotte to really hang around in this game. And the way this line's going right now, I think Orlando might just pull away at this one. They run a very, very slow pace of basketball, hence why you see the 208 total. And if this game goes bludgeoningly under, I think that favors the Magic. I think the easiest way to cash an under is a blowout.
Yeah, the old favorite, the under. The other team just loses it. They get to 85 points and shut it down, and no one's trying at that point going forward. So I like the look. I love the props out there. I thought about Banchero as a guy to get the job done as well tonight. His number got a little juice, though. I saw the total points went from, I want to say 20.5 to 21.5, and now it's like -115. So they are expecting him to come out there and ball out. The numbers are showing accordingly. But let's talk about this game that we've got coming up here. We've got the Boston Celtics 7:30 going on the road against the Cleveland Cavaliers here. This line opened at -5. We're now at 8s and 8.5s. We've got 75% of the bets and 75% of the cash on the Celtics. And the line has moved 3 points in that direction. The total, interesting spot here. We now have U-shaped movement in this total. Movement. I said movement. 222 is where the number opened. It dropped down to 215 when all this information, when T and I got together to put this together for the show. 65% of the bets on the over, but 87% of the cash on the under. And now we've gone from 215s back to 217s and 217.5s. I'm on this over. You know, I got this thing locked in. I still like it at 217. I'm not going to frown off of this. It's -108 at 217. I think there's plenty of value still to be had in that number. The Celtics are 15-0 to the over as an 8-point or more favorite when the total's under 220. So they come in there and they ball out. The total that we're seeing in those spots here, the margin is the key for me, where I said I'm okay with this U shape. Typically, when we see that U, we know that it's getting bought in, but the last direction of the U tends to be the sharper bettors there, the bigger bettors coming in and taking that last-minute action. So the bigger bettors said this thing bottomed out at 215. The margin that I give you in that Celtic spot when they're an 8 or greater favorite is 13.83 points. And they're averaging around they're ending around 226 points. So 217, I know there's a lot of data inside of that one, but 217 is the number that I'm popping in on this over. And I'll go one further for you guys, just a little lean. If you guys are going to do the 3-day, you know, it's Threes Day out there today for DraftKings, where they're giving you the bonus for every 3 that's made. I went to Darius Garland for my 3 guy here today. First 3 for Darius Garland on his home court. I like him to get the job done. This is just a little lean for everybody. You know, the Celtics.
Sam Merrill, if they have a Sam Merrill prop, that kid's been red fucking hot. No Max Strus, no Donovan Mitchell in the lineup tonight. He's seen the biggest beneficiary. I think he had 7 3-pointers in his last game.
Yeah, I looked at, so 2 things when I looked at this one. I saw Garland, 34 3-point attempts in his last 3 games, which is crazy. He's made 20 of them. So he's incredibly accurate and efficient when he goes out there. The Mitchell situation definitely plays to his favor. And then I like, with the 3-day there, I had to look into this thing because they give you those bonus dollars for every 3 that's made. And Boston's, leading the league with 3-pointers made, 16.4 on average. Cleveland's at 13.6. So if you smash those 2 together, I think this is one of those good opportunities to catch that bonus bet that goes in there as well. So not mad at the other side of things, Billy, but I did jump in there. It was plus 600 when I jumped in on that Garland spot. So I felt like, fuck it. Let me take a shot at this thing and see what happens. But that's how we roll through this Boston Celtics game. And let's transition on over. Our boys looking to go into Madison Square Garden and cause some havoc tonight. Billy Briz loves this spot here tonight. We've got the Hawks opened up at 4.5. They're down to 2s and even 1s out there now. We're starting to see 1s. This number is just sinking like a stone. 66% of the bets and 66% of the cash on the Knicks. And I would say this is reverse line movement, but we know the Jalen Brunson news, certainly is compromising, I think, the total integrity of these numbers. You look at 218 on the total, it's dropped to 213s with 76% of the bets and 80% of the cash. Billy, is Garland is Garland. I got Garland on the brain here. Is Jalen Brunson that big a factor? Is there just too many guys down for this Knicks team to compete? Go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, this is what I like to call a market. This is the definition of a market overreaction. I feel like the Knicks are dealing with a lot of injuries left and right. And currently, they were able to win that primetime game on Sunday versus Cleveland. But prior to that game, I mean, they were trending in the wrong direction. 1-9 ATS last 10 games. I mean, I feel like when people see this game and they look at the Hawks losing back-to-back games versus Brooklyn, which is alarming, but they've been in the New York area for like the last week. I think they should be able to bounce back here, gain some momentum. They're trying to tell me Michael Corleone is paying off the refs for the Knickerbockers tonight. Well, I got to say, the fact that you have to even bring up about paying off the refs to win a fucking basketball game shows that you're in a bad state here. I think Atlanta's going to come in here and fucking run up the scoreboard here. While the game is set at a very low total, I think Atlanta has the ability to just score offensively, where the Knicks, it feels like all their shots are like damn near 1 second left at the buzzer, fadeaways and stuff like that. Shouts to Josh Hart. Had a Knicks ticket on Sunday. Josh Hart, literally, Mike, I don't know if you've seen the video. This is like the end of the game. This is like the dagger 3. Hits the dagger 3. Looks at Donovan Mitchell and says, "What's up, my G?" Pulls up to him, grabs onto his fucking chain, and pimps it like that. It says, "Get with me." I think they're coming in a little bit too confident, a little bit too cocky here. You need Jalen Brunson. Miles McBride ain't no Jalen Brunson. We always talk about when teams are without their star players, they get the get-up spot. The get-up spot was on Sunday primetime in Cleveland, and they got up and they won the game without their star player getting hurt early on in this one. This is a get-up game for Atlanta. Big, shining, bright lights, MSG. I'm telling you right now, from an NBA player perspective, 2 games back-to-back at Brooklyn or replaying at MSG. I'm probably giving a fuck about the MSG game a little bit more than the Barclays Center that nobody's at. I got the Hawks here earlier in the day at plus 122. I still think it's good at a pick 'em. You're going to have to prove me wrong, man. You're going to have to prove me wrong. The Knicks without Jalen Brunson are just a really bad basketball team, and you're going to have to prove me wrong and put money on Atlanta here. Everyone's saying, oh, Atlanta without Trae Young. They're not going to have Trae Young next year. This is the version of Atlanta that we're seeing now is the team that we're going to see next year. No Trae Young, no problem. Hawks, bet it. Best underdog bet of the day. Are they still a dog?
Yeah, there's some plus 106s out there. So plus 105s, plus 102s, and now even money as well. So FanDuel's got the best number at 106. BetMGM's got 105. So shop around. Make sure to catch that one at some plus money from our guy, Billy Briz, here in the NBA. And I see shout out. We got some plays in the chat as well. Nick Earl, our guy, Earl Sports Bet, says Boston, Cleveland over 215. Leans the Cavs team total over. And Kelly V dropping some nuggets out there. Loves that UNLV. Well, says UNLV 9-0 lately. $2 beer night. Info. No play for her. I do like that UNLV spot. I just haven't pulled the trigger. That one didn't make the final cut for me. Nasty Nate says, you know what happens when you lean. Daniel Capskinen says, forget that. Give me the Celtics. Let's roll out there. Scotty in the house says, Michael Porter Jr. is the 3-day pick of the day. Jokic legit throws it straight to him every fucking game, right off the tip. Lock of the century for our guy out there. Scotty's
don't say that with Michael Porter Jr. You'll have a Michael Porter Jr. experience like I have. Hit 2 threes in the first minute of the game and then proceed to brick the next 9 attempts.
Hey, if he gets the first, it's all good, man. I'm gonna keep my eyes on that, Scotty. I'll be rooting for you. He says he's already cashed it a few times. Liquor stores, I've been watching the young guys bet college props. UNLV got a freshman. I like a point guard, but he's something. Earl Sports says this line move scares me. Got the Knicks -3. Team total over 109.5 and the full game over 215. Kelly V says the Knicks are 2-10 against the spread lately. Man, they've just been decimated with injuries out there. Yeah. And Kelly V says Knicks versus Cleveland now 9-2 straight up. So a little revenge angle potentially there. Patrick Burns in the house, my guy Patrick Burns. It's great to see him. He says Louisville plus 7.5. He thinks Vatek's defense has been playing better as of late. Haven't decided on total. Give me the bill plus the points out there for our guy Patrick Burns. Whizzleman92 says stop gambling 24/7, 365. Come on, my guy. What else are we supposed to do with our free time? Come on. Whizzleman92 says Celtics in 5. AOD says Pistons in 5. You guys are getting way ahead of yourselves out there. Let's keep rolling on here and move on to this next game here we've got lined up in the association for everybody to take advantage of here. We've got the Pistons and we've got the Heat. It's a 7:30 Eastern start. And we've got a line that moved from 10 to 11.5 now. 43% of the bets, but 76% of the cash, like this Pistons spot there. That's a situation where I told you I love to see that cash because we see the bigger bets are now coming in at that 11.5. 222.5 is where the number opened. It's dropped to 217. 55% of the bets and 58% of the cash are on this under. It's dropped 5 points out here. So I don't like that. I
got a quick thing to say. I don't mean to cut you off. Yeah. But one of the holidays on today's slate today is the 305 day. And that made me get rid of all the Detroit basketball bets. If you look at anything from a Miami Heat social media perspective, all the Miami rappers, they're saying it's 305 day. They're posting left and right. I asked earlier, how the fuck are the Heat laying double digits in an NBA basketball game in the year 2024? Well, on 305 day, it might make sense.
Huh. Well, I did not hear about 305 days, so I'm not sure I get the area code, but I don't know if that's enough for me to jump in here. I think you look at what these guys have coming up. Last home game, they just downed Utah 126-120. They were laying 9, so they didn't cover that spot. And, they just came off a string of covers, but they were getting points in those covers here. So they've got Dallas on deck next and then OKC. So they are about to head off on the road. And look, 305 day, I got to respect it. I got to look into it to see exactly what it is. But all I know is this.
305 day, man.
All I know is this. Detroit's 14-0 against the spread when they're a non-divisional dog against a team that allows less than 112 points their previous 2 spread wins. Also, Miami is 0-11 against the spread versus a non-divisional favorite of 5 or more points when they're rested. So when they've got the rest, it equates to rust out there. And that's an intersecting 0 point for me, Billy. I don't doubt that they win this game. You know, I think they could do, even if they win the thing by 10, but 11.5, that's just getting to be too many for these guys.
It's wild to see like people that I know from like that area of Miami. They're legitimately getting hyped up pre-gaming for a Detroit Pistons Miami Heat game. That's when you know it's 305 day. Like they don't give a fuck about the opponent. They're just there in the arena jamming, singing Pitbull lyrics and shit, man. It made me back away, pass. Pistons get up to a little live line of plus 17.5, 19.5, that coveted Pistons live bet number. Just bet it blindly, don't watch the game, right?
That's kind of what I was thinking with 11.5. I don't want to see the swings. I don't want to go through the emotional roller coaster where they're down 20, then they're down 2, then they're down 18, then it's halftime and they're down 4 points, and then I got to watch that second half and hang on. I got to go white knuckle on the side of my chair because I'm gripping so tight that I need this 11.5. So I'm not trying to watch that one. I'm just trying to get my cash on that one there. I like the 11.5. Let's roll on here. You've got an 8:30 Eastern spot here. We've got the Indiana Pacers going on the road to that Dallas Mavericks team that we just talked about. So Dallas has Miami Heat on deck next, and we've got a line that's been moving a little bit like crazy here. -4 is where it opened for the Dallas Mavericks. We have 76% of the bets and 99% of the cash. 99% of the cash on this Dallas Mavericks team, and it's moved as many as 1.5 now to 5.5. So we've got some tremendous cash coming in on this Dallas team, thinking it's a flat spot for the Pacers. Then we've got the total open at 247.5, and it's dropped. It's down to 246s, 69% of the bets, and 74% of the cash sitting there on this under for this thing to drop now. So what's interesting, though, is this number's kind of across the board. They don't really know heads or tails of this one here. It opened at 247. I see 246s. I see 247.5s. I even see a 248 out there, Billy. Help us make sense of this cash flow here. What's going on with this Pacers Mavericks game? The floor is yours, my guy.
Yeah, let me start by prefacing units are the main thing that you need to really pay attention to when it comes to sports betting. And if you put one unit on something and that's $100 or $1,000 for you for this play, make sure you put a half a unit, because this one could definitely go either way. Though my first reaction when seeing these two teams matched up, you want to play the over, but the under actually stands out to me, despite the Dallas Mavericks being the worst defensive team since the All-Star break. While the Pacers defense has been bad as well, the Mavericks have just played a different style of basketball since the trade deadline, and that's really what the bet's on, the style of basketball that Dallas has to play to win this game. Dallas is one of the top covering teams at home as a favorite. And for them to win this game, they're going to have to lock up defensively throughout certain parts of this game. Unders are 18-14 in Dallas's home games this season. And we saw a lot of early money coming in, pouring in on the under on this game. That might be those spreadsheet bettors, those people that, calculate the little numbers and see, oh, I was just total this high. And then the public came in and said, that's why it's that high. We're going to bet the over. So we're seeing like a yo-yo type of line movement here. But the first batch of sharp bettors and the first batch of public bettors all bet the under. The line has gone up since. So that means I look at that as like public.
It's the Luka news. It's the Luka news. Luka's now going to play. So he's officially in. So it seems like that's kind of what I think drove that number back up a couple of points.
Yeah, I gotta lean towards the under here. I'm betting the under. This is just too many points in the Dallas Mavericks home game right now. I mean, if you look at Dallas's last couple of totals, 238.5, 237.5, 241, 231, 252 was the last time that they played against the Pacers, and that was a 252 total. The game went way under, 133, 111. Indianapolis ended up blowing out Dallas. I think Indiana could be a live dog here, but nah, man. I think Dallas is going to win this game. And the reason why I think they're going to have to play defense in this one, that's what really led me towards the under. You can't really trust Dallas laying 6 points in a lot of situations, but that opening number at 4 would have been good, but that number went up immediately as soon as it hit the books. I think the under is the best bet in this one. If you think Dallas is going to win this game, they're going to have to play defense. If you think Indiana is going to win the game, you might as well take the Indiana Pacers team total over.
Yeah, you talk about these two teams as far as over-unders. The Mavericks at home are 14-18 to the under, and the Pacers on the road 12-18-1 to the under. So I'm with you there. I think this is just, these points are just a lot of points, and I see these numbers popping. And to your point, the initial movement's kind of where I was dialed into as well. I like that under, but I ended up going with a prop on this one. I just went to Siakam. Give me the Siakam spot over 21.5 points, and it was a real simple spot for me here. The Pacers average 123.3 points a game in the league. That's the most in the NBA. So they're scoring at will. You talked about the defense. The Mavs do have to clamp down if they're going to come out there and get on top of this game. But to me, it's the matchup. The guy's been balling. He's playing 29 minutes or more in his last 9 games straight. So I don't expect minutes restriction. The low number means it shouldn't be I got to say this with tongue in cheek, but it shouldn't be a blowout, right? At least it shouldn't be. The Mavericks allow 118 points a game. And, I think if they're going to keep pace, the Pacers, then no pun intended there, then Siakam's going to have to go out there and get it done. Offensive edges over PJ Washington and Josh Green. I think the size is to his advantage there. And 21.5 at minus 110 felt like a modest number for me. So it's a high score. It doesn't mean that we can't see that under. We start to see this line move now as well. So over 21.5 are now minus 120, and it's ticking on up to 22.5 at minus 102. So I'll add the extra 10 cents of juice to that one. Not mad at anybody that wants to go to the 22.5. I'm just rocking in on that Siakam spot for the points. Billy likes the under in this one. And let's close the show up here with the Suns and Nuggets game, Billy.
Question for you before we get to the Denver Nuggets Suns game. What are your thoughts and opinions on that? I wanted to hear you elaborate a little bit on that first game of the night for the Sixers and Brooklyn Nets. We saw that line open up around like a pick 'em originally. Then everybody bet Philadelphia. I saw 98% of the money before the Maxey news was on the Sixers. Then the line gets yo-yo back to the Nets. They become the odds-on favorite. And then people started betting the Sixers again. Now they're back to where it opened. thoughts and opinions on the Sixers pulling out this game against the Brooklyn Nets? Are they just that bad?
Yeah, I mean, I think two things happen here for this. This is just my opinion, but you heard, they were struggling, right? Everyone was talking about the Sixers kind of blowing it since Embiid went out. But what happened a couple days back there? He says he's planning on coming back, and he's planning on coming back at the end of this month. So I think there's motivation now. Basically, he was kind of communicating to his boys, saying, "Don't give up on the season. We're not done with this thing yet." And I think they responded in kind of that. So yeah, the Tyrese Maxey news, him being out of the game, I think that kind of drove some number down for the Sixers there, getting action on the Nets. But I love the Ben Simmons revenge angle there too. I mean, Ben Simmons, he's not playing. So that's another strike that goes against it there. He was going to play and everyone was talking about it, but I feel like he just kind of checked out of this one as well. So you got no Cam Thomas, no Ben Simmons out there. Melton's out, Maxey's out, Covington's out for the Sixers. I mean, this is a situation where I just think there's more depth for the Sixers in this spot here. You can look at the numbers and you can look at I think the trends are compromised because of, the injury factor, or I'm sorry, not the trends, but the line movement. I don't think you can really use that as an indicator at this point, but I did see some tremendous spots for the Sixers in here. Now, I mentioned that 17-0 angle for him, right? 17-0 against the spread and straight up in that spot as well. So we don't need him to go out there and cover a double-digit spot. We just need him to stay in it and be motivated. The Nets are 0-6-1 against the spread as a home dog when the number's longer than a +2 if either won or lost a previous meeting by less than 5 points. So kind of a bad spot there where they didn't cover, they didn't score a double-digit win. They're coming out there with a low number indexed on this game, and it shows that those are spots that are typically fade for the Nets as well. So I'm not mad at that. Sixers. Like I said, it was a final cut for me. I dropped it into that parlay for me. I want to get some action on it here, but I felt like I don't want to have the full unit tied up into that one. I want risk reward there for me on the Sixers, and I get that plus opportunity if this 4-legger cashes for us for 642.
Player prop wise, you know what they say. When they give you the odds boost type of play, that shit never hits. Tobias Harris and Mikal Bridges, they each score 20+ points as the BetMGM play of the day. So who's scoring 20+ points? That's not those two. You can roll the dice and probably get some crazy plus money on it, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would think you got to go with the bench player. I would think you go with take a shot. Take a shot. None that kills me because Tulane was definitely the last cut for me entirely with this. I know it's still early for that game, but that kills me.
My guy Jason Myers shitting on my man, the myth, the legend. Do you not know what time it is? It's the Sugar Show, baby. Get ready. Saturday. Make sure you hear Pop Sports Radio.
Dude, he's rocking the pink and golds this weekend. You can't be going on there without him. So Nick Earl says there's more value on the Sixers without Embiid out there. Totally agree. I think there's enough depth on that team to get the job done. Let's roll on here. We got to get this thing wrapped up for everybody to get away to what they're doing. We've got the Suns and the Nuggets here, and we got a line that opens at 7.5. 82% of the bets, 84% of the cash have moved this line a point to 8.5 now. The total, however, is a little bit of a reverse factor. 223.5s have moved to 224s. We have 82% of the bets and 92% of the cash on the under. And yet we're seeing some upward movement here. Not a ton, but enough to kind of put a big question mark on what the hell's going on with this game, Billy. The floor is yours, my guy. Talk to us about how we're getting paid here. This is the late night special in the NBA. Let's hear it.
Yeah, we're going with Denver here in the first quarter. I mean, if you want to stay with the first half, I don't blame you. But I just want to bet on the time that Nikola Jokic is on the court. And if he's on the court for 10 out of the 12 minutes in the first quarter, I'll take my chances. They've been one of the most profitable first quarter ATS teams in the NBA this season. 20-9 ATS in the first quarter at home, ATS wise for the Denver Nuggets. There's just been a lot of moving parts in the Suns lineup. They just haven't been able to find consistency throughout a full game. Whenever you watch the Suns, it feels like they show up for 2 quarters and the other 2 quarters is they don't give a fuck about. And it feels like this is like a turn it on for 2 quarters, but they're just so bad defensively. You can't do that against certain type of teams like the Denver Nuggets. And the way Denver's been rolling right now, I think they've won every game since coming out the All-Star break. I hopefully, if you back them the full game, I mean, 8.5 points, you got to start asking yourself, are they going to get bored with the lead here in this one? I think they're going to come out hot. One of those type of games where Denver's up by like 6 or 8 at the end of the first quarter. The Phoenix Suns kind of creep their way back in. You think the game's kind of tight. The Suns kind of take a lead in the third quarter, and then the Nuggets end up laying the hammer, and everybody's like, oh, did you check the final score of the game? I mean, damn, we knew the Suns are going to lose. Phoenix, though, I will say we're going to get an opportunity to back them at the back end of this week. I feel like Thursday night they play at home against Toronto. Then their next game is at home against Boston. So we're going to be able to get a couple of spots here with the Phoenix Suns. Hopefully that Boston spot's a little bit plus money. And then Denver, man, it's just hard to really get a good line on Denver right now. I mean, -8.5 tonight. I would imagine Saturday when they play Utah, that line's going to be drastic, and then Monday they play Toronto. So it's time to back Denver now. They got 4 straight home games before they go off on a road trip around this time next week is when they start their road trip. So let's get on some Denver money train right now. We've been backing them since the All-Star break, and it's been very profitable.
Yeah, you know what? I'm adding this Denver spot here, the Denver Nuggets -8.5. So hear me out with this one, right? A couple games ago, I talked about the Luka Doncic factor, right? When Luka's a dog of 5 points or more, he's 0-10. He's now 0-11 against the spread in that spot. This Dallas spot against the Celtics indexed almost identically here at 8.5 for the Celtics. They were laying 8.5. They went out there and they blasted them boys 138-110. Was really, short of that Golden State game. That was a big monster blowout out here. We got a similar spot tonight. Albeit it's one of the star players. It's a marquee guy with a number that indexes almost identically to what happened in that Boston game. The Suns, when Kevin Durant's in the lineup, when they're a dog of more than 4 points, they're 0-14 against the spread in those spots. So it's very similar to that Luka spot with the 5 points. They are 0-10, 8.5 spread. The line had moved in that direction to close at 8.5. We've got this Denver spot closing or at 8.5 now. 0-14, and it's a 4-point dog situation out there for Kevin Durant. So I'm adding this Denver spot. I'm pissed at myself for missing it the other night, and I'm not going to let that happen again. This thing indexes almost identically for it. So I'm adding. I love your first quarter look. Might even be the old trifecta spot. So I'm going to see what happens with that one. But Denver 8.5 to close the show up tonight. Billy, we had a great show tonight, man. What a lot of fun kicking around here tonight with you, my guy. I always love hanging out on Tuesdays. We got some things popping up around the woodwork the rest of the week. So tell everyone what you got cooking, where they can find you, and what you want to do next, man. Let's go.
Yeah, make sure you follow me over on X at Gidden_Bills. UFC 299 card of the year is coming out this week. We got Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Cheeto. Make sure you guys follow me over on Instagram at BillyBrizzDFS. If you guys haven't been following me on IG, you better follow me on IG. They call me Mr. Parlay Guy, but 4 straight weeks we've hit underdog of the night. We've been rolling here with the dogs here in the UFC, so hopefully we can get one through the hoop. I like a couple this week, so make sure you stay tuned over at Billy Briz DFS over on IG, because we usually do the clips and stuff. Shouts to Cal. He usually does my video editing clips for the UFC and stuff like that. Makes the videos look real nice, and it's even better once we cash them.
My guy, always love hanging out with you on Tuesdays. Our resident here at Last Call on Tuesdays. Great job tonight, as always, my guy. Looking forward to spending time with you throughout the week. Shout out to everybody up there in the chat. If you guys are new here, this is what we do here. Go out there and subscribe to Pub Sports Radio. Turn the notifications on when we go live. You'll be in the know. We got all kinds of great content flying around throughout the weeks here. Gold member opportunities for them horse races. We give out free cash. Our guy, Jeff Slaughter, digs into the coffers and comes up with $50 out of his own pocket for gold members, virtual horse racing Tuesdays and Fridays with our guy, Jimmy the Bag. Of course, we've got member perks, member exclusive shows, and we do all kinds of fun, when it comes to discounts in the merch store there. We've got hoodies, t-shirts, pub rub. Barbecue season's right around the corner. Go get some of that as well. We'll see you guys here again tomorrow with Last Call at 6 p.m. and shout them all out. Subhuman Gaucho, Jason Mayer, Old E in the house, Chris Mack, Nicholas Handy, Mark Cal, Earl Sports out there, Wine Time, my brother from another mother, Dana Delp out there getting it done with us tonight, you guys. Patrick Burns, Troy Torrance in the house, loves that. Kyle Lowry, double, guys. On your way out the door, hit that thumbs up for us and show the support. It's time to go get that cash. Good luck with your bets. We'll be popping in.